Okay, today we're going to solve linear equations. Solving linear equations is something you've been doing for a while. They follow some simple steps. Step 1 is to distribute if necessary. Step 2 is to simplify the expressions on each side by gathering like terms, which is what we learned on day 1. You move variables to one side, you move the other numbers to the other side, and then you solve for the variable. And then finally, you're going to check the solution. Is it one number? Is it all real numbers? Or is it not possible? And you can check that by placing it, back into your answer to see if it works. Solving linear equations can be really easy. It can be as simple as a one-step linear equation, which is what we have on this first slide, where all I have to do is simply subtract the number from both sides, or add a number to both sides. Well, that's negative 14. Sorry. It can be a one-step that is division. So where I have to divide a number into both sides. Or multiplication, where I have to multiply a number to both sides. No matter what here, the rule is that we are doing whatever we do to one side to the other side. So whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, you do it to both sides of the equation. Fractions. This is the biggest piece that people have trouble with. There are a few different ways to handle fractions. You can divide, and if you go that route, I highly suggest using the calculator. It gives me negative 15. You can multiply, but if you multiply, you have to remember that you're multiplying by the reciprocal. And so again, if I do 10 times negative 3 halves, I'm going to end up with negative 15. You can cross multiply, which is where we do negative 2 times 1 is equal to 30, because negative 2 times 1 is equal to 3 times 10. Negative 2x is equal to 30. X is equal to negative 15. So there's lots of, like I said, there's lots of ways you can handle these, and I've covered 3 of them so far, and can't really remember off the top of my head what the 4th way is, but I'm pretty sure it comes back to the same thing where you're just cross multiplying. So again, you can divide, you can multiply, you can set a proportion and cross multiply. Lots of ways to handle fractions. But what that eventually leads to is a 2-step, is basically what it leads to. And so in a 2-step, you could have a fraction, so you have to get rid of it in the same way. A fraction that's attached to a variable always has to be handled first. So in this case, and I'll just go ahead and do this one. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. And so when I do that, I get b minus 6 is equal to negative 6. Nope, first step I should have done was not that. Sorry. First thing I'm going to do is add 6. So then I get b divided by 3 is equal to 4. And then I'm going to multiply by 3. Because I'm going to save the variable for last. And so then I get b is equal to 12. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Sorry about the confusion there. So yeah, the first thing I should have done was added 6 and then multiplied by 3 to get rid of the fraction. I'm going to skip through. We're going to work on these in class together So make sure we hit the highlights here. When you see like terms on the same side, you combine them. So, for example, in this example right here, before I can even move forward, I need to take a look at 4n and negative 7n. So negative 3n minus 16 equals negative 10. Went ahead and combined those two terms to make my life a little bit easier when I go to do the two-step solving of the expression, the two-step equation. So I'm going to add 16. And then I'm going to divide by 3. Remember, any expression that's multiple steps, you just break it down into its pieces and it becomes a lot easier. The only other thing that might happen, again, I told you that the first step of solving an equation was to distribute. And so if you have to distribute, just make sure the one thing that gets missed is that we don't distribute fully. I'm sorry, you do not distribute to across the equal sign. You stop at the parentheses. And so negative 2x minus 6 is equal to 28. And now I have my two-step expression. I add 6. And I divide by 2. And I've solved my expression correctly. Alright, so work on as many of these as you can. Don't spend a lot of time on it because we definitely will have time to work on them in class. To partner up, work with me, work with each other, and to practice fully. But remember, the keys are one-step expressions, you just follow the one step, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Two-step expressions or fractions, you have lots of choices. You can divide, multiply, cross-multiply, whatever you need to do to get yourself to simplify. Just make sure, like me, that you do the thing that's furthest away from the variable first. And then you do your division, subtraction, multiplication. It makes your two-step expressions a lot easier. You always want to make sure you combine like terms before you do your two steps. Again, you combine like terms here. You add the missing piece, and then you can multiply, subtract, divide, whatever. And again, check and make sure you don't need to distribute first. If you do need to distribute, make sure you distribute to everything that's inside the parentheses. Do not distribute across the equal sign. So if you're able to follow these steps, be prepared to come to class to talk about them and to show me what you know.